Good morning, everyone. Tad Stevens here with Dr. Anita M. Jackson on how to write your book outline in 45 minutes without feeling overwhelmed. We're going to wait about 30 seconds, then we're going to get started. Let a few more people sign in, get on, and then we'll get going. So hang tight, and we'll start here in just a minute. Good time to have a sip of tea or coffee. Okay, tell you what, let's get going. Start the PowerPoint. All right, how to write your book outline in 45 minutes without feeling overwhelmed. This is a great training. Wished I had watched this about 3 years ago when I wrote my first book. Who am I? Why should you listen to me? I'm going to be your host for today's webinar. My name is Tad Stevens. I'm the founder and director of CPEthink.com Limited, where we sell continuing education to CPAs, and we have done that since 2004. I'm also the director of MediaMarketExperts.com, which is a spinoff of CPE Think. We had to learn how to market online, and when we did, we made that available to other people. We do it for ourselves and for a few others, but mainly just for ourselves and a short list. I'm also the AMJ Productions Internet Marketing guy. I set up this webinar, the funnel, I did the tech and the background work, the sales copy for the emails, wrote the original drafts for those, landing pages, that kind of thing. Since 2004 on CPE Think, I've sold over 100,000 CPE courses to over 25,000 CPAs, Certified Public Accountants. And if you're wondering, CPE stands for Continuing Professional Education. It is the continuing education that CPAs have to get to maintain their license in their state with their state board of accountancy. I've worked with over 50 authors in the last 12 years for CPE and other types of publishing. We currently are publishing, selling content for, actually that's 25 authors now. We added one last week, or a new one. They come and go, but generally we hover around 25 to 30 authors at any one time. I published my own book, as I mentioned, back in 2014, Internet Marketing for the Small Business Owner, which was meant to be a handbook and reference for small business owners. How to do email marketing, how to do SEO, how to do pay-per-click, how to do Facebook, that kind of thing. And if you're interested in it, it is online. It's a little outdated now because things have moved on. Okay, let's keep going. Enough about me. What about you? Have you ever wanted to write your own book? I did. Why you want to write your own book can be from several different reasons, can be one reason. You may have a specific thing you want to do, but have you ever wanted to? I'm assuming you have, or you wouldn't be here, right? Do you want to make a bigger impact with your brand, your message, your business? That was my reason. That is why I wrote my book, because I was using it at speaking engagements to increase my social proof and my authority, to let people know that I know what I'm talking about. I have a book. I have a best-selling book. At the time, it was a best-selling Kindle book on Amazon. Do you feel overwhelmed with the ideas of publishing your book? If you're like me, the answer to that would be yes. If you don't feel overwhelmed, then my hat's off to you. But it's a lot of work. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a ton of moving parts that I just don't know about. Do you have no clue where to start when it comes to publishing your book or getting visible? Then this webinar is for you. This is what we're going to go over in as much detail as we can in about 45 minutes. So if you answered yes, then this webinar is for you. If no, then honestly, there probably is a better way to spend the next 45 minutes of your time, because we're going to go in depth on this, on many of these topics. We're going to go in depth on a few of them very specifically, but we're going to touch on a bunch of them. So if you're ready, what our promise is to you on this webinar is we cannot show you how to write your book in 45 minutes. There's not enough time to do it in 45 minutes. But what we can do is we can show you how to get started in 45 minutes. I know that sounds like a big promise, and it is a big promise, and we're going to show you how to do it because it can be done, and people are doing it today. So stay till the end. Understand that your time is valuable, and want to be very respectful of your time. For everyone that stays to the end, Dr. Anita has a special gift. We'll only give that to you at the end, so make sure you stay. And there will be a recording of this. I said probably, there will be. We'll make sure there is one. We'll get it up so you can watch it again in case you miss anything, in case you want to tell anybody about it, that they can go look at it, because it is going to be really great information. Okay, Dr. Anita, over to you now.
Right. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm honored that you're taking time out of your busy day and schedule to be here to hear about, what it takes to become a published author. I'm going to share my screen here, see if I have the right one. Hope this is the right one. Let's see. Can you see this?
Yes, we can see your PowerPoint. You are live.
All right, there we go. So I just want to make sure I'm on the right page following along with you guys so that you have the best experience possible. All right. So I do have a gift for you at the end for those of you who have registered. A few of you have asked a couple of questions on the chat, and the link is there. I know someone else just sent a response. I'll get to you as soon as possible. So you're probably wondering, who am I? Who's this woman, Dr. Anita Jackson? I am the founder and CEO of and publisher of AMJ Productions and Publications, as well as the Unlimited Woman Lifestyle Business Network, and we also have an academy. My intention as a publisher is, well, let me kind of stop for a minute and share with you. I also have a background as a marriage and family therapist and an organizational psychologist. I share that with you specifically because in that position as a scientist, I started to watch what happens to those who are writing their book, and like Tad said earlier, so many authors will write their book and the next thing you know, it's just sitting in their garage collecting dust rather than serving the purpose and the intention that they had set for themselves to really make a bigger impact. So I decided to see if there's a way that I can help more entrepreneurs take their brand message and business to the next level by helping them learn how to really utilize their book once it gets published. For me, what happened was, okay, let's see that stuff. There we go. I am a #1 international best-selling author and co-author in 9 books. My journey started by me being an co-author in an anthology, and then that opened up all kinds of doors for me. I'm also the publisher of a magazine. We're also releasing a new magazine called The Unlimited Woman coming out this month. We're really excited that we've been asked to partner with a very large lifestyle magazine out here called West Coast, and we have over 50,000 subscribers to that particular magazine, so we'll be partnering with them. I'm excited about that, so you'll hear more about that in the near future if you're part of our community. Like I said, I'm also a co-publisher of 3 additional magazines. I have my own TV channel. We're currently working on developing our own TV network. I have my own radio show. I have 25 years of experience as a psychotherapist and organizational psychologist, and I am now a feminine success coach and global strategist. Why am I sharing this with you? Because I want you to know that I have the background, I have the experience to help you take your brand, your message that you want to share with the world and make a bigger impact. I have the ability to help you do that. And it all started for me once I got laid off from my job, and that's a whole nother story for another time. But that really did open up the door for me to be available to be a part of an anthology. And that anthology, called Bold is Beautiful, I was just a co-author, just wrote a chapter on what it means to boldly declare, I am enough. That chapter invited me to be on a radio show. And from there, I got invited to be on a TV show. And from there, I got invited to create my own TV show. That opened up my channel, and then now that's opening up a network. So being a published author can literally change your life, your brand, your message, and your business. And I want to show you how to do it in a way that aligns with your goals, your intentions, your own dreams and desires. Okay, so best practices. It really is important that you be here now. I know that we're all talented. You have so many things going on in your personal life, in your world, but sometimes when you're not present at this particular moment, you could miss out on something that you need to hear to help you move forward. So I'm inviting you to really be present to this moment. And while you're here, really approach this webinar with a beginner's mind. And then that means releasing or removing the I already know this mindset. When you're here with a beginner's mind, when you release this idea of I already know this, you open yourself up to receiving more from God's source spirit, to learn more from this particular webinar. So whatever you have to do to stay present, to be here with a beginner's mind, allowing yourself to be open to hearing what you need to hear that will help you move to the next level, I really want to invite you to do that. Take notes. It's so important to take notes. And I would prefer, here's a little psychological trick here. It's better that if you would take notes on white paper using blue ink. Your brain is just going to process it more. It's going to remember it more because you're using more of your muscles in your hand, which actually triggers more in your brain. And therefore, it's going to activate more of that creativity for you. So really allow yourself to take notes. I promise you, if you do it in every other aspect of your life and your business, you'll see results just as well. The next thing is I really want you to get excited about becoming a published author this year and allowing that to change your life. And I promise that it will, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, so let's continue going. So I want to share with you what I think are the best keys, my top keys to helping you write your book. The first thing I want you to focus on, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on, is develop yourself as the author. You are the expert. You're the one who's gone through all these different types of challenges in your life, your ups and your downs. You've learned the lessons from the journey that you've been a part. And so that will support you if you will create the mindset that you are the expert to helping change someone else's mind. The other thing I want you to begin to think about, and we'll talk a lot more about this today, is understanding the reader's book buying psychology. There is a psychology in how to buy their books. And so if you understood that, and you understand that, it could literally support you in making sure your book sells once it's published. I also want you to focus on creating your book's intention and outcome. We'll talk about that. Claiming your success. This is a big one. I almost want to bold this and highlight this because I feel that so many people really struggle with allowing themselves to say, I have the right to allow myself to be successful in every area of my life, particularly in becoming a published author. I even want to push you to say, I want you to claim that you can become a best-selling author, and if you really want to go after it, it's a lot more work, but you can become a New York best-selling author. That is possible for you, and if you claim it as yours, the possibilities are unlimited. I also want you to focus on learning how to overcome those mental and emotional blocks and excuses that have probably interfered with your ability to get your book done. I'm going to show you how to get over those things so that you can make this year the year your book gets published. I also want you to understand how to protect and nurture your manuscript. This is your baby, and there's so much going on that you want to nurture it, you want to protect it, you want to keep it in your hands and not share it with the whole entire world. You can't tell everybody what you're doing. Sometimes you have to be very selective. And the best way to protect and nurture it is to come up with a strategic plan. I do see that there are a few of you who are raising your hands or making some comments within the chat. We'll get to you as quickly as possible. So just hang tight if you would. The next point is I really want you to get to the point where you're writing, and writing even more. The more you write, the better you'll become at writing and sharing your message to such a degree that it makes a powerful impact, not only in your own life, because you're reconnecting to that information and the truth that you have to share with the world, but it'll also help you make a bigger impact in those who will read your book. And then the goal is to publish and expand your reach. I really want you to begin thinking about making a global impact. And then your book can help you do that. And then speak as often as possible. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to share with you on this webinar 3 of my top secrets to writing your book outline. You ready? Here we go. Secret number 1. It's not about what's on the inside. It's not what's on the inside of your book. I know you're probably thinking, what? It's the book. Like, yeah, no. What really is important, what's going to pull your reader in is what's on the outside. What's on the outside. So you're probably thinking, what the heck do I mean by that? Well, has to do with your cover. Your cover is the first thing, the first impression that your readers are going to connect to. And you need them to connect to that. So what is your cover? It's your front, your back, and your spine. So when it comes to the cover, the very front of your book, you really want to pay attention to your title. What does it convey? Does it make sense? Is it relevant? You want to use maybe one sentence on that cover that could be an endorsement or a testimony from someone well known within your industry. Here's why this is so important. Sometimes if you haven't really built your brand, your message, or your business, you're just getting started and you're really wanting to get more visibility, it helps to kind of quote unquote piggyback on someone else's brand. That's actually how it worked for me. As I said earlier on, I was a part of Bold is Beautiful, and the author, Kim Boudreaux-Smith, fantastic woman, had her own radio station, and not just a channel, she had a full station. And because of that, she was well connected, had published several books, had a lot of visibility. And so my ability to be a part of her book and connect with her opened up all kinds of opportunities. So having that kind of endorsement on your book can be really powerful. There's some other things that we want to share, and I'll talk to you more about that a little bit later on when we talk about our program that we're offering to support you in getting your book done. The second thing about your cover that's really important is having a subtitle. Your subtitle really is that one sentence that elaborates the subject of your book a little bit more. It helps the reader get a deeper sense of what this book is all about. And then the third element to the cover is the design and layout. I can't tell you how important it is to have a graphic designer who truly understands how to create the internal and the external layout of your book. So if you decide to go with any other publisher, make sure that your graphic designer has created books, and that find out if their books have been bestseller books, if they've gotten enough buzz or attention from their creations, because that's going to be crucial to you in developing your book just as well. All right, so that's just a really quick thing that you want to be aware of. So let's talk a little bit more about your book. The cover is also the back. The back part of your book also communicates, and for some reason that's not on the slide, so I apologize there, but the back part of the cover is where you can either have additional testimonials from people who've read your book, or you have a deeper description of what the book is about, or, and you could, if you're doing an anthology, which I tend to do more of, is I'll have pictures of my authors in the back as well as a description of the book. So your back cover is also important, and then of course your spine. Here's why this is so powerful. 9 times out of 10, when anyone purchases a book, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to look at the cover. 9 times out of 10, they turn it over and look at the back. And that's what's going to sell them on it. And if you grab them in the front and you grab them in the back, then they're going to go to the next thing, and that's the inside. But I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on in this webinar. So secret number 2, it's not about the book. It's about the author and some of the book. Okay, so what do I mean by that? The inside of your book, 9 times out of 10, the foreword, the introduction, and the preface is usually what your readers are going to look at just as well to see if they can connect even more emotionally with what you are going to be sharing in this book. So you have to decide as the author if you're going to have a foreword, which is basically the introduction of the author and the book written by someone else. If you choose to have a foreword written by someone else, I really want to encourage you that you find someone who's already written the book and who has already established their brand visibility. Otherwise, it really doesn't serve a purpose. But if someone that you have who has been well-known, well-received, can write that for you, it can position you just as well. It's almost like brand partnerships have taken place. I hope that makes sense. And then the second part is really looking at the introduction. The introduction typically discusses the topic or the subject matter of the book and how to use the book if there is a strategy in how you want to help the reader really experience the information that you're trying to share with them, if that's applicable. I actually like the introduction. I do this in every single book that I write. And then the next one is the preface. The preface has to do with it's typically written by you about the subject matter of the book and why you wrote the book. This is where you get to really share your story. This is where you get to tell them the journey that you've gone through or gone on and the lessons that you've learned and how you have gained information and wisdom that you truly believe will support them in becoming successful in their own life. So now you have the opportunity to decide, depending upon what your intentions are for your book, you have to decide if you want one of these three or all three. So if you are really wanting to speak at a larger audience, if you're wanting to be on a stage, if you're wanting to be interviewed for radio or TV, then I highly recommend you have all three. If you're just trying to attract new clients to your business, then I recommend it just having introduction and the preface. Those two typically work really well. Now, I'm a different type of person. I have a really big vision and a goal, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have all three in my book. So it really just depends on what you want to accomplish in your particular brand messaging business that will help you determine which one of these to use as you write your book. All right, let's get to secret number 3. So secret number 3 has to do with taking your readers on a journey. Answer the question of what it will be like when they read your book. Now, how do you do that? That has to do with your table of contents. Like I said before, when your readers see your book, they're going to look at the front, they're going to look at the back. They 9 times out of 10 will go to the table of contents, and then they may go to your preface. Or they'll go to your preface, and they'll go to a table of contents. You really don't know which way they're going to go, but those things are so important. So in your table of contents, you want to take your readers on a journey. The journey that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so to do that, I really want to encourage you to write 1 sentence for each section of your book. And that takes 5 minutes. Now, actually, I kind of missed something here, and I want to go back really, really quickly. When it comes to designing your cover, when it comes to deciding whether you're going to have the foreword, the introduction, or the preface, and then when it comes to creating your content, literally it just takes about 5 minutes in each of those sections to help you get the juices of writing flowing. So what I typically do is I actually have one of those old cooking timers, and I set it for 5 minutes, and I just sit and write. And that's what I want you to do with your table of contents just as well. I just want you to turn it on. Maybe you have a smartphone. Just find your timer on your smartphone, set it for 5 minutes, put it down, and just start writing. Don't start judging it. Don't label it as either good or bad. Just start writing. Same thing with your table of contents. Just sit down and start writing out the direction of it. The next thing, offer the step-by-step process to understanding the book's subject matter. It's an outline, step by step, just 5 minutes. Just start writing it out. What do you want them to learn? What do you want them to take away from this particular experience? How do you want their lives to be changed by reading your book? Take them on a journey. In this particular section, I'm going to step into my psychologist role here and say that part of what you can do is think about it like a developmental process. Think about it as a baby becoming a toddler, becoming a child, becoming an adolescent, becoming a teenager, becoming an adult. What's the process that you want to take your particular reader through so that by the end of the book, they've accomplished whatever goals you set for yourself in the book? And again, just sit down, 5 minutes, and just write that out. It doesn't have to be complicated. You just have to write it out and take them on the journey. Now, your table of contents can also include book sections, and then within each section, you have key chapters that support that section, and then within each chapter, you can have subsections. I actually like this process a lot, particularly if I'm doing some sort of an anthology. And if I have a lot of writers, depending upon if all of their chapters kind of have the same flow, then I'll separate it into different sections. But really, again, there really is no right or wrong way in doing your table of contents. I'm just suggesting that this is one of the ways that you can do it. So once you've developed your outline, your step-by-step process, then you can determine if you want to actually separate it into actual sections. And then each section has its own chapter to support that section. And then within each chapter, you have subsections. Those are the little italicized subtitles that you have in the book that talk maybe a little bit more, or it's an offshoot to what you're saying within that particular chapter. So those are the top things that I want to share with you in helping you get your outline done. And believe it or not, that was less than 45 minutes. It doesn't take long if you actually follow this order. Focus on your title, focus on your subtitle. If you have someone that you want to write the forward to, get them to maybe give one sentence that really describes your book so that can be on the cover. Work on your table of contents, and then from there, we'll go into a lot more depth about what goes on in between all this stuff. But this will actually help you start moving in the right direction. So with that being said, Tad, I want to give it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anita.